has been the slogan of the administration. The administration came on board at a time when revenues from oil and gas dropped to less than $30 a barrel, thereby affecting the socioeconomic growth and well-being of the country. To look for other sources of income therefore became imperative, and the government turned attention to agriculture.
We thank God for the administration of Muhammad Buhari that we are getting back into agriculture, and we hope that in the next few years agriculture will take the front seat once again.
The first step taken in achieving these goals is identification of major challenges that made the country to be over-dependent on importation of what can be produced locally. These challenges include lack of access as well as high cost of farming inputs and farmers' inability to get financial support to expand and add value to their produce.
We have to deal with reducing the import burden of food, which is almost $22 billion a year.
To tackle these challenges, the government introduced the Anchor Borrowers Program, which was launched by President Muhammadu Buhari.
The Central Bank of Nigeria set aside 40 billion naira for rice and wheat farming in an Anchor Borrowers Program.
A farmer will be given all the necessary input required to grow wheat. And at the end of the harvest, he's going to pay back with the produce at the prevailing market price.
The latest figures released by the Central Bank of Nigeria indicated that more than 1.5 million smallholder farmers are cultivating over 1.4 million hectares of land under the Anchor Borrowers Program.
It is important for us to appreciate a government that brings about policies that are productive, that are progressive, that are positive, that are proactive.
Between 2016 and 2019, more than 10 new rice mills came on stream in Nigeria. Many of the existing mills have expanded their capacity. Several new ones are under construction.
In Zamfara State, there was this old man. He plants rice 3 times a year, and he got about 11 metric tons per hectare.
Farmers don't need to pay for the insurance separately. They don't pay premium separately. The price of the insurance is packaged and bundled into the cost of the fertilizer.
This has attracted more than $1 billion of private sector investments in the production of rice, wheat, sugar, poultry, animal feed, fertilizers, among other produce since 2015.
And still talking about the last 5 years of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, our discussion segment will focus its searchlights on the ERGP, the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, was launched in April of 2017 and is about rounding up in 2020 with the initiative sort of given through a transition from one phase to the next. The initiative is aimed at returning Nigeria to a sustainable, all-inclusive and diversified economy. Well, Yushau Aliyu, an economist, is a familiar face on the program. He is joining us to dissect the journey so far as it relates to the ERGP. Yushau, you are welcome.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you one more time.
Thank you.
Well, how would you describe the economic journey so far, 5 years down the line?
Relatively average, and when you look at what we saw, especially from the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, there was what is called focus laboratory, where investors were invited to come and look into the opportunities in the economy, and they have done well. More than 20 billion was raised, and $20 billion is a huge capital investment in any economy, and that is why today you have a lot of factories emerging, especially the value chain and agriculture. You also have the Ministry of Digital Economy, meaning that most of the things we do presently as a nation has to do with what is called modern innovations, where you can make fast transaction, where you can have access to what you are looking in good time. That is why Nigeria was rated probably by ease of doing business. At a very good ranking. So these are some of the things that is gingering investors to come, because when investors are coming, definitely it is jobs that are being created. No investor will come just to look. It's like a football match. When you go to a stadium, you are expecting goals. So when investors come with their capital, they are coming with capital to reap profit. And Nigerian soil is a good, fertile, for
ground
profit
for
making.
such investment.
Exactly.
Well, the ERGP came 2017 basically to take us out of the 2016 recession. How would you say its impact was on Nigeria's macroeconomic stability?
The stability has to do with the exchange rate. The CBN has done very well in trying to maintain a very long, consistent stability in foreign exchange, and that is why inflation was controlled. Without making control of foreign exchange, it's not easy to control inflation, and that is why also when you look at the pricing policies around the economy, the only thing that I want to chip in is that there is need for more aggressive innovations in order to look at the consumption pattern, to also understand the coverage of the market, and also to look at the pricing policies so as to contain inflation. Remember, inflation was about 18.33% in 2016, so but it dropped to about 15 and continued dropping up to around 2019, where it drops to about 11%. So the stability was recorded, and it was recorded not just because things are not going well, but because the operators have done the best they can to make sure that where indices has to be changed, they were changed. Where indices has to be also built in, we are built in, and that is why today we have a sort of balanced economy.
Okay, with these lofty achievements of the ERGP as it were, and with all the financial reforms that we are enjoying today, and they are getting better by the day, what impact did it make in terms of food security, talking about this sufficiency we're talking about, and also employment generation?
I remember when we were concentrating on petrodollars, when a barrel of crude oil was sold at about 112 in 2014, most of the states are coming to federal allocations where they can they put a lot of pressures. But with the diversification effort of the government, there is a lot of investment in agriculture, and this agriculture as a base of the economy has attempted to create more opportunities, more employment opportunities to the teeming youth. Looking at the Anchor Borrower scheme of the central bank as highlighted by NT, you see a situation where many value chains were created, especially in rice production. The value chain from the rice production to the input used in producing rice, to the milling process, and to the marketing of the product. Now you have many people reaping a lot of profit, and those creating jobs to many of our artisans, creating jobs to many of our teeming youth who dwelt into the market and taking the advantage of pricing policies.
The world is moving into the 20th industrial revolution. Everything is technologically driven, science and technology, ICT. We can't run away from that, and more so that in this period of lockdown and this ease of, we are forced to work from home. How has ICT, how has science and technology been imputed in the ERGP? How can we make it better?
Excellent. Right from the focus laboratory, you find a situation where everything is being monitored, including the financial transaction, the asset base of many companies, and also the injections made into the focus laboratory and expanded into the economy. You see a situation where digital world is playing a greater role, and that is why today we have, before 2016 we don't have Minister of Digital Economy. Now we have Minister of Digital Economy, and by digital economy it means that an inch movement, you are making money. So and sometimes it's like a flash of insight. When you just think of making a transaction, it happens, and when that transaction happens, you make money. But there is something that has to be done also, that businesses that are not being operated in Nigeria and taking advantage of digital economy, government has to do something on that, because there is money there. Government has to take the benefit of making such transaction, online transaction.
Lastly, we are winding up the ERGP. The next is a 10-year economic plan of the medium-term economic plan? What should we project into?
What we are going to project is to just look at those that have made progress, like Singapore. There is a technologically based economy and they have reaped so much. So when we are putting a plan of 10 years, probably we are shifting from the plan medium-term expenditure framework of 3 years, we are shifting to 5-year tenure. 5-year tenure, it means that in 10 years, China was able to develop from 1990 to 2000. China makes so much of progress. So
China is leading the way, others are leading the way, and we are following.
We must have to take part in it.
Thank you very much, Shehu Aliyu, economist, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you
We'll do this some other time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. Despite the 2 days holidays declared by the federal government on Monday and Tuesday to commemorate the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, the Nigerian equities market posted another performance last week, even as activities seem to be normalizing. Bosere Abel has a breakdown of this progress.
Last week in May was a 3-day trading week as Monday 25th and Tuesday 26th were declared as public holidays to commemorate the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. The NSE All-Share Index appreciated by 0.25% to close the week at 25,267.82 as market capitalization inched up to 13.1 trillion naira. All other indices finished higher with the exception of the NSE Meri Value and NSE Oil and Gas indices, which depreciated by 2.99% and 0.34%, while the NSE SM index closed flat. A total turnover of 1.2 billion shares worth 13.5 billion naira in 20,554 deals were traded in the week by investors. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 953.3 million shares valued at 8.2 billion naira traded in 10,931 deals. The industrial goods industry followed with 64.2 million shares worth 1.7 billion naira, while the third place was occupied by the consumer goods industry. Trading in the top 3 equities, FBN Holdings, Zenith Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank accounted for 494.7 million shares worth 6.6 billion naira in 5,566 deals. A total of 150,008 units of exchange-traded products, ETPs, valued at 359.8 million naira were traded in the week in 14 deals, as well as 5,225 units of federal government bonds valued at 5.9 million naira. 34 equities appreciated in price in the week. 21 equities depreciated in price, while 108 equities remained unchanged.
While the Nigerian equities market closed today, the first day of June, on a sound footing, the all-share index appreciated by 0.19% to close at 25,316.15 basis points, with market capitalization at 13.1 trillion naira. 4,775 deals exchanged hands in 253.3 million volume of shares worth 2.6 billion naira. The most active stocks were FBN Holdings, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Jupiter Oil. Dangote Sugar, Nigerian Breweries, and Guarantee Bank topped the gainers, and the decliners are Stanbic, Flour Mill, and Fitson. With that, we come to the end of this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NTA News Now. Don't forget to use the hashtag, it's BizX. Remember to intermittently wash your hands with soap under running water as the world battles COVID-19. Be safe out there. Business Express returns on Wednesday. I am Benny Adams saying, stay safe.
Lydia Odije Ochi.
Ignatius Nkwo for Deadline 360.
In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Karaye, Deadline 360.
A closer system of government to the people over the years, observers say, has been involved in several.
The Gbagi Adorable Marriage Festival remains a sacred obligation.
For Deadline 360, Justina Etam. Efik language, otherwise known as Iko Efik, is a native language of...
Thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi.
Is to go home for factual news and information, just the way it is, all in the interest of the nation. I'm Naja'atu Tijani.
Here on the NCA, we present only the facts, verified. Beware of fake news, don't be a victim. Stay tuned to the NCA.
Especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic.
My name is Nnamdi Achiko.
This is the network service of the NTA.